All right, welcome to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Brightman, coming to you a couple hours after Rutgers lost to Princeton in the season opener. I attended the game, was in the press box during the action, then attended the post-game press conferences. And, I live up North Jersey. I'm actually staying with my mom tonight, so I got a chance to catch up with her. And then going to take the train up early in the morning to go to work in New York City. So coming to you a little late. This isn't obviously a rapid reaction, but it is a reaction, and it's a lot of takeaways, I think. So I don't know what I'll end up calling it, but something to that degree. And if you followed me last year, you know that I did rapid reactions after every game, and that would be the intention. It's actually a lot easier to cover it when you're home and you can just kind of focus. It was a crazy environment just in the terms of the arena. I mean, getting there, a lot of fans complained about traffic. It was just kind of a weird setting. I grew up like not too far away from this, but this arena wasn't really there when I was around. So I had no experience with this arena. I thought, the event organizers did a really good job, but yeah, it's just it's certainly added to the weirdness of the game. It was a very strange game for Rutgers. It was very evident that Princeton is a team that they have 6 rotational guys back from a Sweet 16 run last year, and they played like a team that knows how to play together. And Rutgers played like a team that doesn't. And that was, to me, maybe the biggest takeaway. And honestly, Pikiell kind of admitted this, and he took blame for not having them as prepared as he wanted to. He said that Princeton did some different things that they weren't prepared for. He talked about a couple different flare actions. He talked about their bigs dropping down in coverage, and changing things up and how they did certain things. But I think that, Pikiell's use of the rotations tonight, it was kind of all over the place. I mean, the minutes distribution is just kind of wild, to be honest with you. And I asked him about the bench minutes and kind of why he went with so many guys for so long. And, he harped on the start of the game, Rutgers falling down 12-4 early on, and kind of being the impetus for going to the bench. And, some of those guys, to their credit, played really well. I mean, Oscar Palmquist, he had 8 points. He had 2 threes. He was 2 of 4 from 3. Had a nice baseline layup on a transition play late in the first half. And I thought he actually held up all right defensively, and gave him some positive minutes. He was in the game down the stretch. I mean, I thought the best thing Pikiell did in this game in terms of adjustments was putting Austin Williams on Matt Alako. Alako was the best player on the court. He dominated. He had 20 or 21 points in this game, and just is such a savvy veteran, and it really showed. But when he put Austin Williams on him in the second half, it definitely slowed him down. Williams had the size to kind of do that. And also just, his experience showed as well. So I thought Austin Williams played pretty well. I don't even have the box score. So Michigan State just lost at home to James Madison in overtime. Michigan State, between them and Purdue, the Big Ten favorites, number 4 team in the country, just lost at home to James Madison. So that's college basketball for you. Let me pull up the box score. But, I thought Austin Williams had a good debut. I think, let's see, what did he have? He had 7 points and on 3 of 5 shooting. He played 27 minutes. I mean, look at the minutes distribution. You had Austin Williams played 27. Oscar played 23. JaMychal Davis led Rutgers with 29 minutes. So JaMychal Davis, to me, he gave him a lot of energy. He's a great rebounding guard. What did he have? 7 rebounds. He had 4 points on 2 of 10 shooting, 3 assists, just 1 turnover. I thought he played with poise. The thing I thought he did too much of is he took 10 shots. I don't think that you wanted 10 shots from him in this game. But I think that his potential to run the offense, I think his defensive capabilities on the perimeter, I think he's good. I liked him. It was very interesting to me that he ran with him down the stretch and didn't put Simpson back in the game. I understand Simpson played really bad or really poorly in the first half. Derek only played 17 and a half minutes. He played the second least of anyone in the game. Gavin Griffiths played the least, 13 minutes. So the five starters, Andre, Derek, and Gavin Griffiths, all played under 20 minutes. And you had three of the four bench players, Jermichael Davis, Oscar, and Austin, play over 20 minutes. And Antoine Woolfolk, who was very good, played over 18 minutes. He had was 5 of 6 from the floor, 4 rebounds. That sequence where he had the steal, went the distance, dunked it, and then got the alley-oop and dunked it from Cliff. That was really impressive. His athleticism, but it's his athleticism, but like he's also very under control. The way he moves, he's very cerebral. It's really impressive in terms of how he looked. Pikiell's been praising him all offseason as most improved player, and he looked a lot better tonight. So that was encouraging. I mean, there's encouraging things that happened tonight. The bench outplayed the starters, but it was also the way in which Pikiell utilized the rotation. Noah Fernandes, I love him. He didn't have the best shooting night. It was 3 of 10, but he had 10 points. It's just a gutty performance. A couple buckets he made where he got fouled. He did get fouled on a 3 and made all 3. Rutgers was 7 of 7 from the free throw line tonight, but I think that's an example of them not having an identity offensively. They didn't get to the rim enough in terms of forcing contact. They got to the rim. They were 13 of 27 on layups, 5 of 13 in the first half. So they were 8 of Aaron does math at 11 o'clock. 8 of 14 in the second half. So better. But the first half was really the killer because momentum-wise, they left so much on the table. And to not come through with a lot of second chance opportunities was really painful to watch, and I was we were up on the third floor, like the rafters, and you could see the balls rim out, and it was brutal. It was brutal. And they had a chance there in the end of the first half to kind of seize control, and they couldn't do it. And then Princeton, like the good veteran team they are, came out in the second half and kind of hit him in the mouth, got up by 8 points pretty much right away. And that was pretty much the story of the second half, is that Rutgers would get it close, Princeton would pull away. Rutgers would get it close, Princeton would pull it away. Alaka was outstanding. Caden Pierce had 15 rebounds. It was Zach Martini had a few big threes. He was even, he knows Cliff for a long time. He was in the post game saying it was the most important thing in his life to win this game. Like the Jersey guys in Princeton really wanted to win this game. And for Rutgers, it's very obvious that they're still gelling, and Pikiell's still learning. And I think Pikiell took it to heart. He talked about not being as prepared, but I think also just in terms of his rotations, like he's trying to figure things out. His team's trying to figure things out, and Princeton's a tough opponent to do that against in the first game. Credit to them for playing the game. I'm thrilled they played the game. I want them to play Princeton again. But yeah, there were some disadvantages in playing them in the first game for sure. Princeton's so well coached, and they have 6 rotational players back from last year. Yes, they lost their best 2 players, but Princeton played, whenever they got punched in the mouth, they punched back harder. And I thought that it was a really physical game. Cliff, 12.7 rebounds, 4 blocks, 6 to 12 in the field. I thought he played well. But, again, they didn't dominate the paint the way I thought they needed to. That was one of my keys in the 3 keys. It was dominate with Cliff. It was defend the arc, and Rutgers didn't do a great job of that. Princeton was 9 of 20. So it was a good performance for them there. And then the third key was what was the third key? The third key was in terms of transition offense. So Rutgers was not up 9-0 at the half in transition offense. They had 2 points in the second half. Princeton did not score 1 point in transitions. It was 11-0 for the game, but it was not where, Rutgers they did not have an identity. Offensively, defensively, I thought they played okay at times. They certainly didn't play as good as they wanted to. I thought that they locked it down there in the middle of the first half when they started to come back. That was big. Just in terms of how they were able to get back in it, but it was not sustainable in terms of how they played tonight. Gavin Griffiths got the quick hook. He made a couple of defensive mistakes. which was a little surprising. But I think honestly, Pikiell probably just realized that this was not the game for Gavin to learn on the fly, and I think that had a big part of it. But again, encouraged by the bench play, Wolf and Austin Williams in particular, along with Jermichael Davis, in terms of what I think he can develop into. And he's got such raw talent and skill and speed. It's really intriguing. And then Oscar just doing what he does, But they didn't get anything from Andre Hyatt. They didn't get anything from Derek Simpson. They didn't get enough from Cliff, even though Cliff played well. I thought Noah Fernandez did his part. I would have liked to see him shoot better, but I thought he played relatively well. That's Derek, Gavin, Andre not giving you much, if at all, and then Cliff not giving you as much as you really needed in this game. So that's a loss. That's gonna be a loss to most teams. And I just think that they'll learn from this. I really do. Princeton is a funky team. They play offense a little bit differently, and it was apparent that Rutgers was not prepared for it, and they were off kilter all night. And it is what it is. They lost by 7. I know people are upset. Believe me, I know. I get the mentions. I get the comments. But this is college basketball. There's 31 games in the regular season. Michigan State, number 4 team in the country, just lost at home to James Madison. This is Rutgers can overcome this, and what they are right now, they're going to be a lot different even in a couple months. And they have a tough non-conference schedule. You're at Wake Forest, who, by the way, was trailing Elon by 20 tonight and ended up winning by 20. I think it's the first time it happened in 15 years to trail by 20 and win by 20. But that's going to be a tough game. I mean, Seton Hall barely beat St. Peter's. So it's college basketball. And I know people want to be really discouraged. It's a marathon, there's a lot of games that are going to happen this season. And, I just think that getting so high or so low is not the way to go. Rutgers is going to have to figure things out from a role standpoint, an identity standpoint, and just in terms of what they do well and what they don't. I think that the veteran influence of Noah and Austin is huge. They have to finish layups. 13-27 is leaving a lot on the table. They did not shoot a ton of threes tonight, which, doesn't necessarily bother me. But again, if you're going to miss shots inside, you got to hit some threes to make up for it. And they weren't able to do that. Rutgers was, let's see, from 3-point range, 4-14, which was like 29%. And for the game, they shot 40%. Princeton shot 43%. But Princeton out rebounded them by 4. They were the more aggressive team. They were scrappy. They were winning all the loose balls. They wanted it more. They were more experienced. And they were better coached tonight. That's just a fact. And that was apparent. If you want to crawl on the ball or you want to, people saying it was it's not an embarrassing loss. Princeton's a really good team. Princeton is good. And Rutgers isn't going to play as many teams as disciplined, well-organized, and tough as Princeton this year. They're not even in the Big Ten. So listen, opening night loss, it stinks. It's Monday night. What a Monday. But the fact is this team will learn from this. I really do believe that. And it's a long season, and college basketball is back. And there's a lot of pieces to like about this team, and it's just going to take time for things to gel. And by the way, they haven't got Mawat Mag yet. He did not suit up. He's close. My guess, I think it's going to be after. I think it's going to be in a few games towards late November, early December. I think they're kind of holding him out. Pikiell said after the game, it's up to Mag when he feels good enough to come back. So we'll see. Maybe that's too early. Maybe he'll come back sooner. But this team is going to need to navigate November and December, learning how to play as a team, learning how to win as a team, but avoid landmines of bad losses. I know people are saying it's a bad loss tonight. It might be a quad 3, but it's people that watch basketball, people that understand basketball know that losing to Princeton is not a bad loss. It's not. It stinks the way Rutgers played. It's disappointing. It's upsetting, but it's not embarrassing. It's not the end of the world. And it's not a major indictment on everybody. Like, let's just get over it, okay? So, disappointing night, and I'm still excited about this team and this season. They play again Friday night against BU, and that's obviously a chance to bounce back and get this get some things meshing a little bit better. Again, I think that Pikiell's a master at that type of environment in terms of trying to build the team together. It's just going to take time. Thank you for listening and watching the Scholar Faithful podcast once again, and I'll catch you tomorrow.